So what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd just start with a little bit more of a zoom out on this and start with Summit County here. This is just a chart for the past 3 years for Summit County's average sales prices. And you can see just a good gradual increase over the past few years that we've seen. Pretty steady, but in the past year, from year to date from last year, we've seen a little bit of an increase in the average sales price, 3.4%. A lot of that has to do also with the um, luxury market. We've seen a lot of larger homes selling right now, so uptick in that. Our new listing inventory has definitely come down quite a bit just since this winter, and especially since the pandemic started. We saw a lot of just a decrease in new listings um, and not a lot of new inventory coming on the market, which resulted in just a lower overall inventory. Um, the Let's go to fully residential here. The inventory right now, we're still under 700 properties for Summit County, which is historically pretty low. We've seen just a low inventory for the past few years. Um, Sold listings, we saw a nice uptick here from the beginning of the summer. We came out of the stay-at-home order, and we really saw a good increase, which we did not anticipate. So June, July, August, we saw great sales, and we continue to see that. See, these are all our pending listings, so we're still seeing really good activity for Summit County as a whole. And percent of list price, we are still staying around that 98%. It's been pretty consistent for quite a while here, 98% of list price. Let's go and we'll zoom in a little bit to Keystone and take a look at what we're seeing there. Starting back again at the average sales price, we actually saw a bit of a dip here in Keystone. When we went into the pandemic, we definitely saw um, Keystone get hit a little bit harder with that. Take into account we're dealing with much smaller numbers here, 610 to 650, just because we have a lot less data. So if you look at this, though, we're starting to see a little bit of recovery in that as we head into the winter months. New listings, that new listing inventory, not a lot of people putting their places on the market here currently. I think that there's just so much that we're active listings, same thing. We're starting to see a little bit of a dip there, but more active listings than we have seen. And that kind of a little bit of a reflection of some of our inventory being a little bit more stagnant, staying on there. We have seen a little bit of an uptick here towards the end of the summer for sold listings, and encouraging to see an uptick in pending listings. So Keystone being just much more of a resort centered properties, they are, I think a lot of people have been waiting to see what the ski area is going to do before they make decisions on purchasing up here, because I know that rental income is certainly a big factor for the majority of our owners. But it's encouraging to know that they are going to open back up, do the reservation thing, and we'll see some promising numbers, I think, with that. I'd say typically, a lot of our stuff is happening as far as activity and sales, that toward the end of the summer, even a lot of times in the winter. So that's something that I expect that we'll see a little bit more of an uptick here as we go into the winter months here, and we've got those resorts open. So percent of list price here, going to be real similar, 97, 98% of list priced here for Summit County. So now we'll just take a look at the Slopeside condos and just what we're seeing a little bit for your average sales price. We've seen a little bit of an uptick there. Again, we're dealing with a much smaller amount of data, so this line is going to be a little more sporadic with every sale that you have. But our inventory is down quite a bit, not a lot of inventory historically there. As far as new listings, active listings, we're only talking 5 active listings, so relatively small number of data that we're working with here. Pretty much all studios. So pending sales, encouraging to see a little bit of an uptick there in pending sales, and as well as just a slight tick there in sold. The let's see, price per square foot we'll get to, but percent of list price, we had a huge uptick with this last sale. We were down a bit on the previous one, so a little bit more variation. I think a lot of these listings started fairly high, and so that's why we saw that low number percent of list price. But again, 1 or 2 sales can greatly affect that with the less data. So that's kind of what we're seeing there. Just to take a quick overview, if we add in here, we're going to do River Run area, just a little comparison. And if we look at the River Run area, average sales price, is higher in River Run. But one thing I wanted to show you guys is your price per square foot, which is kind of interesting. So as far as an overall value, Slopeside has good value price per square foot. Again, here you have one sale, 1 or 2 sales kind of skews that here at the end, but I'd say as a running total, you guys have been looking pretty good. And then you come back here to January, February 2019 is where you guys passed up River Run in your average price per square foot. And my theory on that is just the renovations that you guys have done has helped increase those values and brought it up to par or better as far as just a contender with the Slopeside properties. So I think that's encouraging for you guys to see and know that your money's going in a good direction. So we will look really quickly. So this is a little Cloud CMA, cool little interactive TV or active link, and I can send this to anybody if they want. But our average, we're gonna actually, let's start over here. So looking at this is our average sales price, right around 273,000 when we're looking at these studios, just for comparison's sake. And this is our average price per square foot. So looking at studio sales in Keystone, and as you can see, we're doing pretty well at Slopeside. There's a couple of Slopeside sales right there. Here's one that's under contract. So within that realm of an average price per square foot, that's good to see. One of the things that looking at just the amount of time that it's taken to sell some of these guys over here are your Slopeside. So you can see the pricing where these started at and where they ended up selling at. So they did start just a bit aggressive on that price, anticipating that the market would come up to that probably, but didn't quite reach that. So that just hurts those average days on market, just with a couple of those guys, or average days on market, and then also percent of list price. So anyway, that's the overall market in a nutshell. I'm going to open it up to questions at this time.